Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm going to talk about the recent November 30th Devastation on the Nation 2024 showcase here in Seattle. So, if you're not aware of the tour, or if you haven't kind of caught up with it since the last incarnation of it, I Am Morbid, who replaced Morbid Angel, who had to drop out for some reason. Suffocation, Uada, Mortiferum or Mortiferum, Fulci, and then Knoll. And so I've been to a Devastation on the Nation show before, and it was really good. Like, really good selection of bands, really good kind of like slot times and everything. So I was excited to catch them this time around. And I'd seen most of the bands before. I haven't seen Suffocation, and I hadn't seen I Am Morbid or Morbid Angel, as best I can remember. So out of the other four, Fulci, when I saw them before, they had a lot of tech issues, and they lost about half their set. So let's start with Knoll. Knoll's an interesting band. Not a lot of people seem to be aware of them, but I've seen them twice now, and both times they grab a lot of attention. Not just because of the intensity of the performances, but because of kind of like the orchestration of their music and presentation of their image. So really almost this kind of like, this is probably an oversimplification, but this like kind of like twisted Victorian, and as I'm describing it, I'm already aware it's like really gonna not be accurate. So I'll just say this: when you look at Knoll's kind of merch and stuff, it's got this kind of like twisted Victorian vibe. They had some like Victorian-esque stuff on stage, but they delivered some really cool metal. It was heavy, avant-garde in some ways, some interesting instrumentation, especially by the vocalist. He had some interesting electronic setup, with like guitar string fragments that he was playing with a violin bow, you know, and just a really intense set. And they were the band of the night who, when they left, everybody was like, who was that? And they headed over to the merch table. So I was really happy to see them again, and I was really happy with how intense their performance was. Oddly, the night, kind of the first two bands were the best of the night for me. And I believe that they delivered kind of the sets I wanted to see. So the next up was Fulci, and they had a drummer with them, which was a treat too, because they did a lot of their other tours with just the drum machine. They still have the screen with the movies playing on it behind, but it was blocked by a lot of stuff on stage, so we lost that kind of effect. But Fulci are probably one of the best death metal bands out right now. They're a special group, and if you've seen them live, you know what I'm talking about. Even if you're not huge into death metal, these guys just have great vocals, great kind of hardcore energy as far as like just relentless beating death metal. Obviously, if you like horror, the vibe is intensified because they're all about like the Fulci era horror. They're an Italian band, and so that makes a lot more sense. So Knoll and Fulci come in and they just deliver like a solid 1-2 punch, and the crowd was awake and ready to go. And mind you, the show started at 6 p.m. Doors were at 5, so like it was early on a Saturday, and so like people were in a good spot to deliver some energy. So Mortiferum came on next, or Mortiferum. Sorry, I don't know. Really like heavy pounding kind of black death metal, and they put on a really good set. I've seen them once previously. This set was better. I think the more intimate, small, intense setting serves them way better. They were able to fill the venue up with smoke, but for my taste, it just kind of went on too long. So while I didn't subjectively just enjoy it as much, the set was really good. It was solid. It was heavy. It was atmospheric. So the guys did good. I wish I was into them more. It would have probably been a really good feeling, but it's not the way this works. So it was similar with Uada, who I've seen them before, and they have this really, they have a good black metal vibe. They play some pretty upbeat, faster kind of black metal. It's pretty cohesive. They use a lot of smoke too. They have like the hooded veils or the hoods on, so you can't see their face. And they came out and they put on a great show. But again, for me, and black metal's a hard one for me because it's very hit or miss. I didn't really enjoy it much. They had stepped it up over the first time I saw them, which was cool. I always like to see bands get better at what they do, or at least my perception was that they were better this night. But yeah, so black metal fans loved it, and it was kind of weird because they were the most black metal band, so like those fans kind of dissipated or stepped back. But it added a really good element of energy to the night. So then, right, we start off with these heavy hitters, and then we get into these like more kind of smoke-filled, atmospheric, black death things. And then we're gonna roll into some pretty straightforward, kind of legendary death metal, right? We have Suffocation, who I hadn't seen before, and they were initially the big draw for me, because I hadn't seen them, and I don't tend to like this kind of straightforward death metal. So again, it was another set where they did great, very skilled. The crowd went the hardest of the night for them, but I just couldn't really get into it. I am happy I saw them. Tons of respect. So if you like death metal, and if you like kind of the classic straightforward death metal, you're gonna love Suffocation. If you need something a little bit different, or if you like more of the black or kind of more modern day death metal, I don't know how you'll feel about them. Chances are you'll respect them. A good chance you'll like them. But that brings us to Am Morbid. So I was initially looking forward to seeing Morbid Angel, although I realize Am Morbid in a way is kind of more Morbid Angel, and they played a ton of old stuff. So it was kind of Morbid Angel, really. Anyway, same thing as with Suffocation. The guys delivered a good set. It was a little bit less energy, kind of more orchestrated, right? Vocalist, and guitarist here, and then guitarist backs up, other guitarist backs up, one guitarist goes here, and it was like, I don't love the kind of orchestration. Like I want bands just to do what they're gonna do. I don't want to see something that seems like it's rehearsed or kind of scheduled. So, I think for me, it had the lineup mostly been flipped, it would have been more of something that I would have really enjoyed the most, right? If those other bands would have had longer sets. But I think if you're looking at like, okay, we're gonna do like this brutal death metal oriented thing, I could kind of see this making sense. Fulci deserves their own tour at this point, like bigger tour. But I know that these are the points of contention that people argue about. So my experience, every band delivered a great set. I like the first two the most. I was really happy to see Suffocation. But every band delivered. A few of them weren't my thing, so kind of makes it more interesting. But I'm happy I saw them, and it was awesome to see the old school fans enjoy this mix of the night. So please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Who else you think would be good on these lineups? Not that I have anything to do with it, but just share what you're thinking. So we're rolling into December now. Got some really cool stuff lined up, and I might do a few reviews on older shows, but we'll see. Anyway, till next time,